3, 2, 1. It's the Andy and Shelly show. Only Shelly's adjusting the lights and it's just Andy. I am going to try to reel Shelly into this video as well. We'll see how well I do as time goes by. But I wanted to talk about some awesome thoughts that I think are life-changing and wanted to get these thoughts to you as quick as I could. They just hit me this morning. Some of them hit me this morning, some of them hit me on the way to church. But me and Shelly were talking about what it takes to really understand and really know somebody and really experience unity, really experience being known, and really experience community, I think would be another word too. I'm going to weave a couple themes together here, but what I think is of enormous value is understanding that each person has their very own, very unique, very specific to them language. And I think we're a little bit deceived whenever we think, well, I speak English. Are you getting on the video, babe? You speak English. We both speak the same language. I think it's much, much deeper than that. I mean, take any relationship you're in. The majority of us, I would imagine, are not working across a language barrier or a language gap. And even the people that we know closely, intimately, perhaps a spouse or a best friend, it takes a very long time to really develop the same language between the two of you. And me and Shelly have been married for, come on babe, what a reeler.
I'm trying not to move because then the floor creaks.
Oh, I know this is a squeaky floor. Squeak, squeak. Here she comes, come on babe. Good. Now the video just went up in quality incredibly. So yeah, I would just say that we are often deceived by believing that we speak the same language when just because we both speak English, I don't think really means a hill of beans, for a better expression, for lack of a better expression, because there's so much significance and meaning that each person has when it comes to specific words, and so much experience, I guess I would say too, around certain words that when we go to communicate either with words or with body language or with the way that we
actions.
Yeah, with actions that, my goodness, it can get misinterpreted and misunderstood so easily. So I think my first point is just simply always the value of knowing a common language, getting on the same page with language, and then the realization that we're not there, and we probably won't be there for quite some time. Maybe, what do you think? Do you think folks that are married for 30 years, do you think they speak the same language, that they've completely got it down when it comes to a shared language?
I don't know that they speak it. They probably understand the differences in their language a little bit better.
But you'd say they just navigate their differences a little
Or,
better.
I don't know that, well, there's a difference between understanding and recognizing. So
Yeah.
you can recognize that somebody reacts really negatively when this happens, or
Sure.
when I do this.
Sure.
But do you understand why that happens because of the way that they're interpreting what you're doing?
Yeah, that would be another layer. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I think it's possible for somebody to recognize
Mm-hmm.
that, you know,
Something's-
there's a language
there's a
difference, or
miscommunication.
or they interpret things differently, or whatever. But understanding, I think, is something that takes time and effort.
Yeah.
A greater recognition is definitely going to come with time.
Yeah, but even with that recognition of the differences, you're saying really truly understanding the why would be like a whole other level of communication. Yeah. So anyway,
And it definitely improves things to recognize. Like, I think whenever I always relate things to life. So whenever
Yeah.
I was teaching riding lessons, one of the first things I always told my students when they came to the barn is your horse speaks a different language than you. So in order for you to really figure out how to communicate with them, you're going to have to figure out how to communicate through body language and a pressure, applying and releasing pressure.
Oh, that's good.
Because English is not going to communicate anything to them beyond the few simple words that have been drilled into their head, which they might understand walk on or ho or whoa or something like that, but it's not going to speak as loud as you being able to apply pressure, because horses move away from pressure. So they apply pressure, whether it's physically applying pressure or emotionally applying pressure through body language or facial expression or something like that. So learning how to start to learn that language is going to allow you to communicate with that horse and ride that horse better, as opposed to always assuming that they're dumb and they don't know your language. So
yeah, and I think that was another thing I think we talked about in the car this morning was just assuming that you know what's being said when somebody's trying to communicate something, or if we're talking strengths or other types of things. They talk about barrier labels, like I see you doing something and I put a label on it and I say that's what Shelly's doing, when really it's not at all what you're doing, or not at all what you're trying to communicate.
For example, with a horse, the horse won't walk forward.
Dumb horse. That's a dumb horse. It won't walk forward.
It's a dumb horse. Or I could say he just got his feet trimmed. Maybe his feet are sore. I haven't checked his saddle fit in a while. Maybe the saddle fit's poor. And it could be just a horse being obstinate, but there could be other things as well. Or it could be a horse that's not tuned up. Maybe he hasn't been ridden in a while and he's used to just standing there. Or maybe he's been ridden so much that he's so dead to the aids that they don't mean anything anymore. There's all those kinds of things that you have to evaluate when you're an instructor to find out what's actually going on for your horse.
Yeah. I think that humans are very complex, and communicating from one human to another human is pretty complex as well, and there's all these different layers to it. And back to the original thought, language is huge, and just learning a common language with whoever you're trying to have a relationship with, whether it's coworkers, whether it's a parent to a child, whether it's a one partner to another partner. Language is huge, and if you can get the same language down that your partner or your spouse or your kid or your coworker has, if you can get on the same page with language, you are going to be 10 steps ahead towards having towards experiencing unity and efficiency and all those other things that you may want in a workplace situation, or just in a romantic relationship or parent-child relationship. So language. Can we say anything more about it? I just feel like there's so much there. I just want to be like, language! and stress that a whole ton. And I think ultimately what personality assessments, or looking at your strengths, or just
sharing
any
common
tool,
experiences or different
sharing stories with each other, hanging out with each other.
Doing
Ultimately,
things together.
Yep. Ultimately, I think what's happening with all of these things, every single one of those things we named, is we have an opportunity. All these tools are giving us a chance to get closer to speaking the same language. That's what I'd say all of them are doing. And the closer we can get to that, the closer we can get to actually communicating the things that we want to communicate to one another. So that's huge point number one, language. The other one was authenticity. Heard a great message this morning about authenticity, and how the degree that you have authenticity, or to the degree that you do not have authenticity in your relationships, is the degree to which your experience community and connection and depth of relationship and love, or to the degree that you won't experience those things. If I am only showing up in my relationship with Shelly 70% and 30% of me is masked or hidden or tucked away, I'm only going to be able to be loved by Shelly. 70% of the real me is going to get loved. If there's 30% of me that's
and accepted,
yeah,
and affirmed,
and all those other wonderful words, and all those other wonderful words. If I only show up 70%, that's all of me that can be real, you know, and then
you're
the rest is
always
masked.
wondering about the other 30%.
Exactly. And so I think the other thing that was driving this video for me is one of my dreams. It was actually I was telling you about this earlier, my first coaching mastermind that I was a part of. I had shared with them that like the deep desire of my heart was just to experience community, be in community where there is authenticity and where everybody is actively growing and actively working towards living and functioning and being healthy. Not that everybody in community is 100% healthy, because I don't think anybody is, but that everybody is on that trajectory. I would rather hang out with unhealthy people on their way to growth and maturity and health than I would with people who have gotten to a certain level and stopped, or got to a certain level and are like headed back the other way. I love being in a relationship with people that are growing, and it's an awesome thing. So and I think again, the thing that makes community happen is authenticity.
You're sharing your vision and how that ties in with authenticity. Your original vision for coaching.
Yeah, so let me try to tie that together. Yeah. So anyway, that was the original vision for the coaching mastermind, but ultimately my big dream, my big vision is to through the life coaching, through whatever all it is that we get into down the road here, is to foster growth in people and create space and experiences for people to grow, so that we all get closer and closer to who we really were made to be, and that all of us live more and more in authentic ways to who we are, that we come more and more in touch and in tune with that, and together collectively
100% you.
100% you. Yep. And that we all are collectively moving towards that, because I think there's a lot of power in moving towards a common goal together. So
in a real and honest and humble way.
Yeah, those are all very good adjectives. Are they adjectives? Real, honest, and humble. Anyway, so my heart was just excited to share my thoughts, our thoughts from the day with you guys. And again, I think there's a lot of value in that. Working towards common language, building community through authenticity, and I think that's how dreams come true. At least our dreams.
Working towards authenticity in yourself so that you can have authentic community and relationship with others.
Yeah. And I just put a quote on Instagram basically saying that that if I don't know who I am and I don't understand myself, if I show up in a relationship, I'm going to be bringing whatever percentage of myself I know and understand about myself to the relationship, and the other part of me is going to be not there. And so I think when we're in community, we can keep calling out who each other are and who each other are created to be and meant to be, and realizing more and more fully our purpose in this life. So that's what me and Shell are about, and we just want to encourage you all with some things that we feel like are, helping us on the journey to where we want to go.
That's it.
We need that little...
It's a wrap.
We need that little... what's the thing that always gets Bugs Bunny at the end? like the black screen that comes in. It's like a circle like this, and it gets smaller and smaller. And then he's like, "Hey, wait a minute! Hey, wait a minute!" we don't need that. See, guys, let's go turn this thing off. How about you turn that thing off, since you're up anyway? Cha-ching!